Hi, it's good to be with you again this morning as we finish up our series for this week on the fact that Jesus and time off, and continuing to build on the four pillars of a healthy Christian business leader. The pillars are healthy relationships, biblical financial values, and biblical spirituality and balanced living. And this week we're focusing on balanced living. And so far, as we've looked at Jesus and time off, we've looked at Jesus took time off after a period of victory. Jesus also took time off before making some major decisions. We saw that on Tuesday. On Wednesday, Jesus took time off after a heavy period of ministry. And then yesterday, Jesus took time off when he just had enough of people. He just had to get away, and he went and hid himself and tried to not be found out. But of course, the people did find him, and there once again he had to get involved in ministry, even though he was physically exhausted. But his desire was to get away from people, and sometimes we just need to do that. And then today, as we finish up, Jesus took time off when he faced an intimidating task. So he had a major task on hand, and it was coming right up. And so in this passage, Luke 22, verse 41, when he arrived on the Mount of Olives that night, the night of his betrayal, he withdrew about a stone's throw beyond them, knelt down and prayed. Now, are you faced with a terrifying task? Something that you say, you know what, I'm just so scared. I just don't know how I'm going to do this. I just don't know how I'm going to get through this. It's just overwhelming me, and I'm just feeling that there's just, I just don't know that I have what it takes to be able to get through this particular situation, through this particular task that lies before me. Well, maybe it's going to be painful, or maybe it's going to be something that's going to be humiliating. And certainly, as Jesus was going through what he was about to face, it was going to be painful, but it was also going to be humiliating, as he would be hung on a cross, and he'd be hung there. And usually when they have pictures of him, he's got a groin cloth on, but in all reality, he would have been completely naked, completely exposed to the elements and to everybody there, and disgraced and dishonored in that way. So how do you handle that? How do you handle it when you have this task that's before you, and it terrifies you, and you're saying, I just don't know how to take the next step, and what do I do? Again, I want to emphasize the fact that Jesus was fully human. Now, yes, again, he was fully God, but he was also fully human, and in his humanness, he struggled with a lot of the same things that we struggle with today. He was terrified of the cross, the pain that was going to come with that, and the humiliation. And as I've often said, I believe that the greatest pain for Jesus on the cross was that moment in time when he called out to the Father and said, my God, why have you forsaken me? Because Jesus, being the Son of God, the second person of the Trinity, had never been separated from the Father until that moment. And in that moment, he experienced, in essence, hell for us, because he was separated from the Father for us, so that we could be united with him once, we are resurrected from the dead. So Jesus was terrified. And we know that because we're also told that angels came to minister to him and to care for him and to help him as he had to deal with that. But he knew he had to do this. He came for this purpose. The cross was not an accident. The cross was not an afterthought. The cross was not just, the people turned against this good man and crucified him. It was the plan. It was the plan before Adam and Eve even took the bite of the fruit. And when God spoke to Eve in the garden and said to her that, the male child that would come from her, he would crush the head of the serpent, but the serpent would bruise his heel. That was a direct reference to the cross and the crucifixion of Christ that would take place. It would not be without pain. It would not be without a cost. But he would still be victor. But he knew it was going to be a cost. And he knew it was going to be hard. And he knew he had to do it. So what did he do? We're told that he went off alone to pray. Just a stone's throw, whatever that is, 50 yards. Maybe if you have a good arm, you can go a little further. But he just went off to pray. Now, this was not a long time. As he is preparing to deal with this terrifying task, it was not like he could say, let's call all my friends and let them all get together and let's have a good old prayer time together and pray through this task so that I will know for sure. He didn't have that. It was coming. It was imminent. It was about to happen because Judas was on his way to betray Jesus. It was that night. You might be faced with a task that terrifies you. And the only moment you have to draw time aside is maybe when you're sitting in that chair waiting for that door to open for you to go in. Or you're sitting at your desk and you're waiting for that phone call. Or you're at home and you're kind of pacing. And you immediately, like it's going to happen. You have to deal with it, and you have to deal with it now. And maybe you're the one that has to make that phone call and deal with that difficult task. And in that moment, all you have is maybe 30 or 40 seconds, maybe a minute or two, maybe even 5, to just kind of draw away and just communicate with God and say, God, please, give me the courage. Give me the strength. Enable me to do that which terrifies me. That's what Jesus did. We learned that his prayer, or certainly an aspect of his prayer was, pass this cup, if at all possible. But if not, your will be done. And that was Jesus' attitude. I don't want to do this. This is terrifying. This scares me. But I will obey you. I will do what you've called me to do. So today, as you go about your day, if you're faced with a situation that seems almost impossible to handle, take time alone. Even if it is just that 30 seconds before that door opens. Even if it is just before, you hear the phone ringing and you know that call. You know who's on the other line, on the other side of that line. Just quickly say, God, give me the strength. Help me to deal with this task. May we learn how to take time alone with the Lord. Again, even if it's just a moment. It's great when we have those long times when we can spend time with him, when we can go up on the mountain like we saw Jesus do earlier this week. It's great when we can do that. But sometimes we can't do that. Sometimes we just have that moment. Let's take the moment. May the Lord bless you. Have a great weekend, and I will see you again next week.